It's a house full of holiday traditions. Coming up, we'll take you inside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue for a peek at the president's Christmas traditions. Plus, more than 200 movie theaters across the country released the movie The Interview today, including one right here in central Kentucky. We'll tell you how far some people traveled to see it.
She's a sweetheart. She's the sweetheartest person you'd ever want to meet. She would never hurt nobody. She'd take her shirt right off her back and give it to you.
As families gather to celebrate the Christmas holiday, one family in Bath County is incomplete because their loved one is still missing.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon and Merry Christmas. She's been missing for 3 months. A Bath County mother is asking for help in the search for her daughter. Police say that Norma Jo Brown went missing back in September. Family members say she was last seen with Kevin Howard, a man later arrested for the murder of a northern Kentucky professor. He has not been charged with anything connected to Brown's disappearance. WKYT Sam Smith talked to Brown's mother. She says this Christmas feels incomplete without her daughter. He has our top story at 5.
On a day where families are coming together, one Bath County family is incomplete for the first time on Christmas because Norma Jo Brown is still missing.
She's a sweetheart. She was the sweetheartest person you'd ever want to meet. She would never hurt nobody. She'd take her shirt right off her back and give it to you if you needed it, worse than she did.
In a couple of days, it'll be 3 months since she was last seen. Sharon King says all her kids will be at her home today for Christmas, with the exception of Brown. Brown was last seen with this man, Kevin Howard. He was arrested in early October, and there was no sign of Brown then. Howard is accused of killing a different person that went missing. King and her family are not giving up and are hoping Brown is found and that she's able to return home.
And I know there's more out there that's went through what I'm going through, but you never think it's going to hit your back door. You always think it's somewhere else, that it's not going to be you.
King asks anyone that knows anything about her daughter's disappearance to contact police. In Bath County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
And King says police plan to search the Kentucky River in Jessamine County for any signs of her daughter. After all that rain and wind, we are finally getting a little bit of a break, but don't get too comfortable because the calm and quiet will not stick around for long. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell working on this Christmas day with me, and he's tracking the chances for a wet weekend, Jim.
That's right. It was my Christmas present to Chris Bailey, by the way. I said, sure, I'll do it. Right now, though, it's pretty nice out there, but we will be tracking some showers into the weekend. Right now on Defender, it's quiet, clear, and calm. Yesterday at the same time, we were tracking all kinds of rain, high wind, and all kinds of issues as a result of those aforementioned items in the weather forecast. Now, you're just looking at some cloud cover, and we're even starting to break that up. Now, what happens when we cross over into the overnight, though, we'll likely get to some pretty chilly levels, and the skies will clear for that. Yesterday, winds were an issue. Today, hardly noticeable at all. These are the sustained wind speeds. We're talking anywhere from 5 to maybe up to 10 miles per hour, and you can see even out toward Jackson, newest data coming in suggesting calm for those folks. Right now, 39 degrees in Lexington, 43 in Richmond, and more low 40s, and even some mid 40s showing up out across eastern parts of Kentucky. While we didn't get snow for Christmas, as you head out and about and you take your stuff back, or whatever present didn't fit, didn't work, whatever, or you're just out and about on Friday trying to find post-Christmas deals. Looks mostly sunny around 48. The graphic really is more of a snowy kind of thing. But anyway, we're looking at 48 for you tomorrow. A much nicer day to end the work week. But that rain will be coming, Sam. We'll track those chances coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Jim. I like the sounds of that Friday. Firefighters in Georgetown spending the morning cleaning up after a fire in a parking lot. The fire was in the parking lot behind the Winner's Circle Motel about 7 this morning. A trailer was engulfed. Firefighters tell us they will have to come in tomorrow to finish cleaning up the mess. Right now, they're not sure what started the fire. It's one of the most talked about films of the year. Sony Pictures delayed the release of the movie The Interview following threats and cyber attacks. But today, select theaters around the country released the film. Marley Hall reports from a theater in New York showing the film.
As moviegoers line up across the country to see The Interview on the big screen, the reviews are starting to pour in.
It's a funny movie. The audience was laughing. I was laughing.
We're going to North Korea!
Fans took in a Christmas screening of the Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy about a plot to kill the leader of North Korea. Sony had scrapped the release after hackers made terror threats, but later decided to release the movie online and in independent theaters.
It was much better than I expected, but yes, it was worth the hype. Definitely worth waking up too early in the morning to come see first thing.
Were you planning on seeing it anyway, or because of all this?
I probably was going to see it, but not till much later. I came purposely to support the artists and support freedom of speech.
About 300 theaters, including Cinema Village here in New York City, are screening the interview. Many are adding shows to meet the demand.
We're sold out definitely for some shows. We expect to be sold out for the others. Business has been very brisk.
Manager Lee Peterson says there is extra security in light of the threats, but believes freedom of expression is worth the risk.
I'm proud to be involved. I'm proud that we're playing it.
Hello, North Korea!
Still, industry insiders expect the movie to earn less than it would have before the controversy began. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
And back home, folks coming from miles away to see the interview in central Kentucky. The theaters of Georgetown, one of 3 theaters statewide showing the film. The theater's general manager says the screenings this afternoon were more full than normal for a matinee showing on Christmas Day. The Wells family drove nearly an hour to Georgetown to see the controversial movie. They say they planned to see it long before the hacking incident, but the temporary cancellation made them want to see it even more.
I definitely wanted to see it more because when you can't do it, then I mean obviously it's more inviting to want to do it. So we were really glad that we were able to come today.
The theater's general manager in Georgetown says they pre-sold tickets to all their Christmas Day showings of the interview. At least 200 volunteers gathering at the Salvation Army of Lexington this afternoon for the annual Christmas Day dinner. Volunteers came from all over the Commonwealth to help serve food and drinks. Wildcat Warehouse even donated UK sweatshirts for adults, and a local church youth group set up a toy store to hand out toys to the children. Volunteers say the meal is a way to give back to the community.
It's just very special because it means others are important. This day isn't just about me, it's about serving others, and that's a beautiful thing.
Volunteers started signing up for the dinner over the summer months. Gift cards offer a quick, easy way to give gifts over the holidays. Legislation back in '09 did away with fees and rapid expiration dates for most gift cards. But as Rebecca Smith found out, if you're not careful, waiting too long to use that gift card could decrease its value.
While federal law now prohibits companies from putting certain expiration restrictions on gift cards, they can still tack on other provisions.
Many folks throw them in a drawer and forget all about it. Then look at it a year later and go, oh, I forgot I had this.
A couple dollars being shaved off as part of what's called a dormancy fee. There are other things you can do to further ensure the value of the gift card, according to the Better Business Bureau.
Many folks do enclose the receipt that came with the gift card. If you can register the gift card on the website of the retailer, that helps as well if you end up having to recover any funds because it got stolen or lost.
When it comes to giving whatever type of gift you're giving this Christmas, the BBB says it's always good to include a gift receipt.
Some stores will not give you any kind of cash refund without a receipt, although they might give you a return or exchange or store credit.
In Lexington, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
Changes to federal law now require a company to wait 5 years after the issue for a gift card to be considered expired. Still to come right here on WKYT on this Christmas Day, the Pope delivering his annual holiday message. We'll tell you what he had to say. And a Kentucky lawmaker pushing religious freedom in public schools coming up at 5:30. We'll talk to him about a new bill that could allow students more freedoms in the classroom.
For me, the life of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, whose birth we celebrate today, is an inspiration and an anchor in my life. A role model of reconciliation and forgiveness, he stretched out his hands in love, acceptance, and healing. Christ's example has taught me to seek to respect and value all people of whatever faith or none.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at the most viewed stories on our website right now. People want to know more about the death of a young Winchester woman who was shot to death while sitting in her apartment, a West Virginia murder case, and the power outage at Bluegrass Airport yesterday. You can find these stories and more on WKYT.com. Protesters taking to the streets again following the deadly shooting of a black teenager. Protesters packed the streets of Berkeley, Missouri last night trying to shut down traffic on the interstate. Demonstrators gathered in the mobile gas station parking lot where the 18-year-old Antonio Martin was shot after police say he pointed a gun at officers. Some people broke into stores in the area. Police arrested several people for damaging property. At least one person was caught on camera throwing an object at police. Pope Francis urging tenderness as millions of people around the world celebrate Christmas. In his annual Christmas message, he called for tenderness following recent acts of violence. In today's message, he's calling for an end to the persecution in Iraq and Syria. He says the war in the Middle East has been going on far too long. He also expressed sympathy to the victims of the Ebola virus. The first family headed west to spend their holiday in Hawaii, but throughout history, the White House has played host to many Christmas celebrations. Karen Kafa reports from Washington with a look back at some of the traditions and the decorations at one of the world's most famous addresses.
26 Christmas trees, a 300-pound gingerbread house, and Sunny and Bobots. Even though the Obamas aren't home for the holidays, the White House is fully decked out.
Here at the White House, the holidays are a chance for us to show what our country is grateful for this holiday season.
It seems like a tradition that's been around forever, but a holiday theme chosen by the First Lady, like this year's Winter Wonderland, is a relatively recent phenomenon.
The actual Christmas theme tradition didn't really start until Mrs. Kennedy in 1961, and that was with the Nutcracker Suite.
Mrs. Kennedy chose the Nutcracker because of young Caroline's ballet studies. Hillary Clinton would revisit the theme with Chelsea in 1996. White House Historical Association curator Leslie Jones says themes reflect the interests and passions of the first family. Barbara Bush drew upon her needlepoint hobby for 1991. Laura Bush highlighted literacy in 2003. And throughout Michelle Obama's decor, a focus on military families.
Despite the number of visitors the White House hosts throughout the season that get the opportunity to see the more public displays of decor, first families do still have a chance to keep some traditions to themselves.
There are quarters within the house that are private, and the family usually has their own tree there with their own ornaments on it. The types of things were handicrafted by the children of the household, that sort of thing, and those are much beloved.
White House Historical Association Chief Historian William Bichong says the first known Christmas tree wasn't until 1889, a request of Benjamin Harrison for his children and grandchildren. 5 years later, Grover Cleveland's family had the first White House tree with electric lights, and one first family had to sneak a tree past their commander-in-chief.
Of course, Roosevelt didn't really agree or enjoy the idea of having Christmas trees in the house because he was such an avid conservationist, but he did buckle under to his children's wishes, and actually they did have a tree a few years while they were in the White House.
From those young Roosevelts to the Obama daughters, children have always added something to Christmas at the White House. Both private celebrations and public events. The spirit of the season the same as any address. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
First Lady Michelle Obama took calls last night for NORAD. She helped track Santa Claus and answered children's questions about Santa's location. The children all over the world woke up to presents from Santa today. We'll show you the #1 gifts for boys and girls. That's coming up in Better Living.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Now, we're not going to take too much of your time because today's about family and being together with the ones you love. And luckily for me, that means I get a little help on the weekly address as well.
The holidays at the White House are such a wonderful time of year. We fill the halls with decorations, Christmas trees, and carolers. And this year we invited more than 65,000 people to join us. Our theme was a children's winter wonderland, and Americans young and old had a chance to come together and celebrate the season.